What's going on today, everybody? So, today we are here to talk about the new release of Hands and the overall Perk patch update that dropped this past Tuesday, so 3 days ago. Gave it some time to play around with the characters a bit. We got Hands and Maria. So, here we have Hands. Now, his ability is called Ripstall, and essentially he can remove fuses and valves when they're inputted, even if they're tampered by Danny. So, at long last, the family finally has an answer to the Danny problem and the spamming of like fuse box and valve. See, there's always been like 3 or 4 fuses and valve handles on the maps, and we've always wondered, family players have always wondered, well, how come we can't just remove the fuse? How come we can't just remove the valve? Instead, the victims keep coming around, hitting it over and over again, until eventually it works. And, if you have a Danny who did it, well, if Danny got it off, it just stayed on. You know, probably 3, 4 times as long, 3 minutes or something for the fuse box. I can't remember what it is. And the pressure valve, you just basically had to watch and wait as it opened up. And you were forced to guard that while they opened up other exits or, rush the gate. Hands himself has some various perks that help him out. He has a shoulder barge. It's not like Leland's at all. It's very situational, hard to hit. Good for like putting him down wells or through crawl gaps and spaces. When the victim comes through, you hit him with the barge. I'm not sure what the actual damage is for it, but it does pretty well. It sets him down, but it puts Hands into an animation afterwards, so he can't just attack you immediately. So you have time to get up and go. It's more or less to push somebody down while another family member comes to assist you. He does have, like I said, he has a few unique perks. I don't think any of them are really overdone, except maybe, on his ability tree with Ripstall is decreasing the cooldown time of Ripstall by 40%. I think that's a bit much. We'll get into some of that details here in a couple minutes. Overall, it seems that Hands is a welcome addition. He lends himself more to support than anything. He's faster than you would expect, but he's not a real run and chaser person. He shouldn't be in the basement really chasing people around. I mean, you could do all these things. You could try. I'm sure there'll be builds that will be able to accomplish some of that, but never to the degree of like a Hitchhiker or a Johnny or a Sissy. And obviously Leatherface. He doesn't replace Leatherface, but he also has an ability that allows barriers to be broken. So it does kind of remove the need for a Leatherface on certain maps, like Family House, for example. If you have Hands and he has that perk, he has to have the perk equipped, though, for it to work. He can break the barrier upstairs to get to the fuse box, for example. So some good things there. Now then, I mean, I've heard other reviews going on about with people with Hands, and of course, the day after he comes out, or even on the same day, you have people on Reddit calling, he's got to be nerfed, he's OP. Is Hands really OP? That's the question. I think in the right hands, no pun intended, or is it? He could be very effective. He can hold down certain areas. Is he all omnipotent and can do anything on the map? No. He can be countered. Solo queue is rougher. Obviously, and it goes for really any team makeup. If you have a good team on comms, people who know the maps, know where to put traps and so forth, you'll succeed with any team. That's just the way it is. And sometimes victim teams of 4-person or 3-person will completely outclass the family. People say, well, Hands has slowed down the rush significantly. I only think that's partially the thing. You see, the perk patch redid all the trees, mostly of victims and family, and it took away a lot of the same perks everybody ran. Now, there's still a lot of useless perks in there. We'll get to those in a little bit. But you got people who are giving their commentary, which everyone's allowed to, about, well, geez, this should be done with Hands. Like, His the cooldown time for Ripstall needs to be increased. All right, I can agree with that. It should be. And then you got, well, he shouldn't be able to counter the tamper. Okay, then what is the point of hands at all? If he can't counter the tamper, there's no reason to even have him around. Honestly, that's why he's there. He's there to stop a the tamper, but b the putting one valve handle on and constantly having to go run and shut it off. Same with the fuse. You put one fuse in there and you could turn it on, and the family turns it off, and you come back and turn it on, and it keeps going and going. So it I think it forces the victims to have a bit more strategy than just bum rush the fuse box and we're out. So I think Hands does that. Now the perk patch in general also kind of does that because you're not seeing as much of like grapple mania going on, or everybody, three characters with fast hands. They stopped that, for example. Now, and the thing is hands OP? Okay, well, I guess if you think of the family abilities, their star sign ability versus the victim star sign's ability, who can counter who in this game? People are talking about hands has, well, now that's more traps we have to get, and it's just too many traps. It's overwhelming. You know, they have, usually on every map, I believe they said there's like 9 bone scrap piles, right? So that's 27 bone picks you can get. There's perks that allow you to keep a bone pick by a percentage. So you have 27 traps that you can dismantle. Plus you have bomb squad on quite a few of the characters. So that's four times you can dismantle a trap just almost instantly. Some of the traps don't disappear? Obviously, you can reset them. Yes, so that can be an annoyance, but overall, I mean, the only time you'd be overwhelmed with traps, I mean, I guess, is if you had Hands, Hitchhiker, and Nancy on a match. And I mean, I don't know, that would be not a good combo in my opinion. Maybe Family House. You have Cook's Hearing. How do you counter Cook's Hearing? You stop moving. Okay. How do you counter Johnny's footprints? You slow walk, or crouch walk. They have perks that counter Sissy's poison. They have Bomb Squad for Hitchhiker, for Nancy, and for Hands now. Who else's ability? Who am I missing? Leatherface. Okay, he's just chainsaw ability. There's a Anna kind of has a counter for that in her ability to just take an insane amount of damage. They can stun the family for whatever 10 seconds or whatever it is with bone picks with choose fight. So how do you counter Hands? Well, Danny can kind of still counter Hands, but you have to be smart in doing so. You can't just rely on Danny to win. Like, for example, how do you counter Hands? You have to hit 2 objectives at the same time. He can't ripstall both of them. He'll probably ripstall the tampered one if there's a Danny there. So he's not overpowered. I don't think anything needs to be done with his ripstall at all, other than maybe an increased cooldown. His barge is debatable. It's very situational, and it's hard. It's hard to hit in during a run. You pretty much have to corner somebody in order to land it well, or catch them off guard. Is it overpowered? No, but I mean, I think the cooldown on it could be increased. It does refresh pretty fast. But if they decided to nerf Hands to where his ripstall does not counter a tampering by a Danny character, that really kind of diminishes Hands' utility to a degree. Not completely, but to a degree it would. So the thing is, the victims do have abilities that family can't really counter. How do they counter Sonny's ability? He can see where family members are. They can't really counter Connie's ability because it instantly picks a lock, whether you have security pins plus nobody escapes from hell on or not. Instantly gone. Leland's barge can hit multiple people. There's not really a counter for that. Julie's ability is more of a running thing, so that's not really a worry. Virginia can go to a powder station and get a full kit of powder, which I believe is three charges on one thing. Sissy, it's random. She might get one, she might get two. Virginia can throw that stuff while on the run, blind you. There's no perk that eases the blindness of a family member. So she can throw. I mean, I've seen a lot of powder during matches, way more than I've seen Sissy poison. Let's see. Who else do we have? Anna. Yeah, how do you counter Anna's thing? You can't really. It's an invulnerability thing. So, am I missing anybody else? Trying to think if I'm missing anybody. Maria. So Maria can not be sensed by Grandpa and can lower Grandpa by a level. So if she also has the stabbing perk, there goes like 2 to 3 levels of Grandpa in one blow. How do you counter that? Well, what everyone says. Well, the counter is you have to kill the victims. Well, of course, that's the object. Is family is to not have victims escape, so kill them. Yes, but when there's an actual true counter like what Hands has, there's people who all of a sudden have an issue with it because now they have to play differently. But I think it's more like the perk rework has forced people to play differently. And I think that's good because now there's some unique perks, there's some different loadouts that you could perhaps use. People talked about that the problem with this game was it's how meta it has become, and that if you remove the perks, basically it'd be a balanced thing. Now Gun themselves have said family was always supposed to be more powerful, but yet they wanted to have a balance. So now I think they're actually a lot closer to achieving that. So in my opinion, this is one of the best updates that they have done in quite a while. Now I think they still have a lot of work to do. There's still perks that need to be reworked on both sides. There's a lot of useless perks, I would say, on both sides that people feel are useless. I mean, insulated, confusing mechanic might have more utility now, but that's debatable still. They still haven't changed the writing on a lot of these that supposedly they did change. Bring home the bacon. Prey drive from Cook. Slippery is bugged right now on Sissy, even though she can get wireframe. Yeah, so there are some things, but I think people should chill out and enjoy the game. The matches have been longer, and I think that's partially because people are getting used to the two new characters and the skill tree reworks. There's a bit more. I think there's a bit more terror in the game now. There's a bit more desperation that victims should feel. And I did a few victim matches myself, and yeah, it is that way. It can feel oppressive, but it's not impossible. But as many others have said in the beginning of this game, there's two sides to this game. There's solo queue, and there's party matches. Teaming up, having a team of 3 for a family, having a team of 4 for victims. If you're on a team, doesn't matter what side, and you have comms, right? And you have good comms, and you kind of know the maps at least. The game is far more enjoyable. Solo queue, it's a toss up. Whether you'll get good teammates or not, or whether people will be on comms or not, that's a complete toss up. So is this a good patch? Yes, I think it is a good patch. Is Hands OP? No, but he can be really, really effective in the right hands. Once again, pun intended, right? Just like the other family members. Now, if you look at, is he pay to win? Yeah, you could say maybe he is. Nancy, they thought she was, and they she's pretty much gutted. Sissy and Johnny weren't a part of the original movie. Now, I know they say these characters are from the Bible of Kim Henkel. I still debate that or not, but we'll just take it at face value. Sissy really needed a buff, and she finally got it. Johnny needed a slight rework, and now they made a path for him that is actually pretty good. you know, I would say in a way Johnny would be overpowered in that regard. Um, the victims, they buffed up Sonny a bit, they buffed up Julie a bit, and I think that's awesome because those two really kind of fell to the wayside as far as the quote unquote meta goes. So I think moving forward, hopefully they continue the rework on these skills, on the perks themselves, and maybe even in the star sign abilities do some tweaking to some of that. Um, get rid of the useless perks entirely, or revamp them so that they're useful. Like for example, insulated. Why not just combine insulated with rubber boots? Like level 3, you can walk over the cattle grids, and you won't get shocked by Hans's traps on the fences and things like that. Plus the lamps. Why don't they just combine them like that? That would make a lot more sense, right? Bring home the bacon. Maybe since Leatherface gets serrated now, we might see more Gallo kills, and I suspect we will. So maybe bring home the bacon might actually have a little bit more use, perhaps, right? But I still would redo stuff entirely or just remove the perks. Um, we're still waiting on museum mode. I really don't know what to expect of that. If it's just a going around seeing how the game was made, I really don't care. You can find all that anyways. There's also leaks of a certain metal plated character from the second movie coming, which before this on a different stream I had predicted that in August for the 50th anniversary of the film release, that is what we're going to get, is we'll get Chop Top. I'm still sticking to that prediction. I would go even farther in that I could see them actually releasing maybe a franchise victim. Hopefully, someone from the first movie would be great. Like if they could do Sally, or even Stretch from the second movie, that would be neat too. If they're going to have to break that mold now because we've got Maria. So where does it go moving forward? Wes himself has said they plan content past 2025, right? I mean, that's what, 6 months away? Yeah, 6 months, 7 months. So I would suspect within 6 7 months we probably get maybe two more family members, two more victims, and maybe one or two more maps. That would be my guess. Hopefully they got some sort of stuff to unlock, because we need things to unlock. If they're just going to rely on cosmetics and everything, they're gonna have to do more. There's gonna have to be some other kind of mode in this game and so forth. Even as far as a better tutorial, or change the private parties to make it kind of like Killer Clowns, where you can go in as one family member, one victim, and just explore the map and test out perks and things like that. I think they should totally do something like that. They could still have it to where you don't earn XP. I think that's fine, but do something. Anyways, we're going to be doing some live games soon, so hopefully this review is helpful. I would say Hans and Maria are definitely worth it. Out of the two, who kind of came out better, I would say Hans did. Maria was kind of underwhelming to me, unfortunately. And since the game was initially based around her, but they might have something more for that down the road. We'll have to see. I do wish they would have changed the cinematic at the beginning of the game though. If you picked Maria, just show a cinematic of the friends actually finding her and untying her from her binds, and then just start wherever it is that you normally would spawn in the basement for whatever map it is. But I think that would have been a good change. And hopefully they changed the beginning. They got to change the beginning intro of the matches with Leatherface putting people on the hook, especially when he's not in the match, and so forth. And they're showing people turning on the generator and battery, which we don't do anymore. That needs to change, because I think that also adds to confusion for new players. Anyways, Thanks for watching. Hopefully this was helpful. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll have more content coming soon. And we'll have some live gameplay of TCM real soon. See you next time.